Alrighty, what is going on, guys? Welcome back, and today we're going to be recapping what we've seen so far in the conference finals on both the East and West side. Haven't been uploading the past couple days because of what has been going on in my hometown of Surfside, but we're finally back. We left off in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, so let's get right into it. This literally could possibly have been the game of the year. Paul George gets the Clippers up one with a pull-up mid-range shot. Devin Booker, and he's just driving up the court. Papev knocks it out of his hand, but it was an arguably bad call as it would turn to Clippers ball. Of course, the Clippers are up one, and there's no shot clock, so the Suns have to foul. Paul George misses both free throws. The nickname Pandemic P comes to life again. He's been carrying the Clippers without Kawhi, but here we go. Paul George just completely chokes the game, misses both free throws. The Suns now have a chance to win the game with any type of shot with 0.7 seconds left. The lob to DeAndre Ayton is a good one. It's not the first time we've seen them. We also saw Tyson Chandler do it a couple years back. That was when the Suns were kind of like irrelevant in the league. But now they're irrelevant in the Western Conference Finals as DeAndre Ayton comes up clutch with a perfect pass, by the way, from Heat legend Jake Crowder. It was just a crazy ending as Pandemic P comes to life again. But one thing that did do is it did activate the down 0-2 Clippers. Now we remember first round versus the Mavericks, Clippers go down 0-2. They come back and win in 7. Second round, they're against the Jazz. Kawhi is out for game 6 and 7, but even when they're down 0-2, they won 4 straight games, beat the number 1 seed in 6 games. And now they were 0-2. They were down 0-2 versus Phoenix after this game. We move on to game number 3, and the Clippers pull it out. Now, I'm not going to give any excuses to Phoenix or anything, but Devin Booker did have like a broken nose in 3 different places in his nose. He was wearing a mask, and he did struggle. He had 15, but he was 5 for 21 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. Chris Paul did come back that game, but I knew that he was going to struggle, and I was going to take away from D-Book's performance. Chris Paul, like I said, he came back from the COVID-19 protocols. He was out for 2 weeks or so in close to that range. And he kind of struggled, 5 for 19 from the field, too. He also had 15. DeAndre Ayton led with 18 points. But it was still not enough to beat this Clippers team. Cam Johnson had 12 off the bench, but Cameron Payne also got injured that game. I think after like 5 minutes or so, he ended up leaving the game. But, yeah, Paul George, he kind of struggled, if I'm being honest, 9 for 26 from the field. But he did end up with 27 and 15 and 8 assists. Terrence Mann at 12. He's not had his 40-point game like he had versus the Jazz. But, again, I would say that the Suns are a better team than the Jazz. And Marcus Morris we did see go to the bench, and it was Terrence Mann and Pat Beverly that were starting. It's because Marcus Morris, I think, was a game-time decision or so. I think with that knee injury, I'm not too sure, honestly. I think that he was a game-time decision with that knee injury, so they just decided to keep him, not play him for 30 minutes a game. He only played for 24, I'm seeing, so he wasn't too, I mean, he was 100% from 3, 2 for 2, and he was actually a decent player, so they might put him back into the starting lineup for possibly Patrick Beverly, but if they did win Game 3, then they might keep the starting lineup that they had in Game 3. Game 4 is tonight between the Suns and Clippers, so it will be interesting to see how that game turns out. Can the Suns go up 3-0, or will the Clippers tie it up like they did in each series in the first 2 rounds and make it an interesting series? But moving on to the Eastern Conference, first of all, I did not really expect either of these teams to get here. I had both these teams going out in the first round, believe it or not. The Bucks losing to my Miami Heat, and the Hawks losing to the Knicks. But here they are, literally fighting for a final spot. This first game was kind of interesting. Now, I did think that if the Hawks and Bucks would meet up in the playoffs, they would, the Hawks would struggle against the Bucks, and it could possibly be a Bucks win in 5 or 4, honestly. But seeing how the Hawks were able to handle Embiid and Tobias Harris and Dwight Howard, but Ben Simmons and stuff, I was really impressed by this Hawks team. And going versus Giannis, I think that they could possibly also do a good job, but this game was a great one. 116 to 113 was the final score. The Hawks ended up winning. Bogdanovich only played 27 minutes, and I'm trying to think of why. I know, I just forgot why. But he did struggle, 1 for 6 from 3. Capella with 12 and 19. He's doing what he does best. Rebounds and just put up lob from Trae, get rebounds, give it to Trae, run up court, and just get another lob. John Collins, he's been playing great this series. 23 points, 50 rebounds in game 1. And Trae Young, 48 points, a career high for the young stud. Bucks had no answer in game 1. Game 2, story was a little different, but we'll get to that soon. But Kevin Huerter, I think, has been a really, really good player for this Hawks team. Good on the defensive end and on the offensive end. He might not be the most efficient, but he does come up with clutch baskets when you need them to, from 3, from mid-range, layups, finishing. Anything you want, he can do. Like I said, rebounding, defense, finishing, shooting. He can basically do it all. Gallinari has also been a pretty big part for this Hawks team off the bench. And so has Lou Will and Onyeka Okongwu, who was the 6th pick, I want to say, in the 2020 draft. He was injured for part of the season, I think, at the beginning. I think he was injured for part of the season. But, yeah, this Hawks team has been surprising on, especially me. But Trae Young was just doing insane. He crossed up Drew, then Drew got caught behind the Capella screen, traded his little shimmy, and then swished the 3-ball. It was just insane, his performance. And what he was doing, it was just all insane. But Game 2 was a much, much different story. The Hawks only put up 91 points in that game. So first quarter, it's a normal playoff first quarter, 34-28. And through the beginning of the second, it was just a normal game, right? It was a close game within like a 7-point game at all times. The Bucks go on a 20-0 run, just insane run. And now outscored them 43-17 in the second quarter, then outscored them by 8 again in the third quarter. Hawks the fourth quarter didn't really matter at that point because they're already up by 40. But it was just an insane performance by Milwaukee, shutting Trae down, as Trae only had 15 points, being the leading scorer for the Hawks, which made it kind of more embarrassing for them, honestly. I will say that it was nice seeing Cam Reddish come back. He played 17 minutes and scored 11 points. Of course, I think, what was it, the hamstring? No, it was probably what... I think that he did have an injury. He was out for the end of the season and the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So it's nice to get to see him play again, but the game didn't really go well. And I will say that nobody even played, like, outstanding. Like, nobody played tremendous. Giannis was 11 for 18 from the field. Like, disregarding those missed 3 threes that he took, he was 11 for 15 from inside the 3-point line. He had 25 points and 9 rebounds and 6 assists. So he was playmaking, scoring, defense, rebounding, everything you could want from a player. Chris Middleton had 15. He kind of struggled, but it's fine because they still ended up beating them by 35. And they played everybody off the bench, I'm guessing, just because at the end of the game, that's when they kind of were crushing them. But the Bucks were able to shut down Trae, which is, I think, that the biggest thing that I think that they need to do. The Hawks' biggest need that they needed to do was shut down Giannis, which it's kind of looking like it's hard to do. The Bucks' biggest need was to shut down Trae. And if they can do that just like they did in game number 2, then this series should be over in 5. A gentleman's sweep. But we'll have to see what they do and answer in game 3. It's a tied series, so it's not like it's going to be a sweep. And now the Clippers and the Clippers Suns game number 4 starts soon, so I'm going to start to get to that. We do have the podcast dropping later today. It's going to be a recap of all the rounds of what we've seen so far. First and second rounds in every single series, combining up to what we've seen in the conference finals. But that will wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.